Even apart from the recent Epstein file leaks, there are a lot of other celebrities who are involved with him. Honestly, Hollywood is worse than you can even imagine. I could still name quite a few people.
People that are in the position to actually know the people's names on the list, those people are probably in trouble.
Yeah.
Because that's a crazy piece of information to have.
Look.
No one's been tried. No one's been brought. No one's been discussed. We know who went there. We know flight logs. No one talks about anything. There's no effort to prosecute.
Actors and actresses in the audience, they look terrified at the idea of you mentioning their name. Did you feel that?
I did, and I noticed it the first time. I didn't get it. Like, one of the first one I did it, people would come up and say, what are you going to say about me? I think, why do you care? I only go after their public behaviour.
Public habits are the only ones he targets. That is his exact wording. But even so, the Hollywood elite were frightened, terrified, not irritated or ashamed. Consider the reasons.
Who do I pander to? The 200 richest people in the room, or the 200 million people watching at home who aren't winning awards, who aren't millions.
200 million people watching from home. That was his true audience, and he made the most of every opportunity to sneak anything past the room, which was making a valiant effort to remain silent. However, no one is making the connection here. The jokes weren't the only thing. It wasn't just about Epstein. Ricky Gervais was watching the same lady your kids saw every afternoon after school, the same woman who taught America to be nice. Furthermore, he did not deliver the warning from a platform. It was quieter than that, and it was intended specifically at her. That's not a troll, that's not a bitter ex-fan. That is a producer who worked inside that program for years, sitting on camera, stating what she observed. The Be Kind brand is gone. The show is gone. Ellen is gone, hiding in the English countryside, while the Epstein files with her name contained lie in a government database. And Ricky Gervais saw it coming before virtually anybody else did.
Here's precisely what he knew and exactly what they didn't want you to find out. Every January, Hollywood puts on its most costly dress and meets in one room, the Golden Globes. Roundtables, champagne, cameras rolling on cue. And for years, the folks who controlled that program kept welcoming back the one guy in the building who truly did not care what happened to his career. Afterwards, British comedian looked at 200 of the wealthiest individuals in the entertainment business, grinned, and stated precisely what the 200 million people watching at home had been waiting for someone to say.
That's a show about a man who wants to kill himself because his wife died of cancer, and it's still more fun than this, okay? Spoiler alert, season 2 is on the way, so in the end, he obviously didn't himself, just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up! I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
All that stuff I said in the show was true. I said, oh, I'm going to write my own jokes, right? And I thought, who do I pander to? The 200 richest people in the room, or the 200 million people watching at home.
200 million people at home. Not the producers biting their lips in the front row, not the publicists who had been manipulating storylines since before some of those performers were born. The folks at home, the people who had never been to the parties, never signed the agreements, never witnessed what occurred after the cameras stopped filming. And Ricky Gervais ascended that stage year after year and offered those 200 million people a crack in the wall, a peek of who the individuals sitting in that room truly were. Go back to 2012. He stepped up there and told the whole audience they were scared of a single journalist, Ronan Farrow, a guy who hadn't publicly exposed anybody yet. The mere utterance of his name made the room move. Why? Because the folks seated at those tables already knew what Ronan Farrow was ultimately going to uncover.
I can't tell you that I had a crystal ball.
The fallout spreading from Hollywood to corporate America, the media, and Capitol Hill.
And knew that there would be this incredible flood of people in industry after industry, women and men coming forward with difficult claims.
Then came 2020, the greatest occasion yet. He stepped on the platform and declared Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. The entire crowd fell quiet. You could feel the strain via the television. And he didn't flinch. He didn't backtrack. He looked directly at particular persons sitting in the audience and delivered things that nobody in that room was ever going to forget. Now, as Ricky Gervais was firing those guns from the stage, someone else in Hollywood was delivering an entirely other type of warning. A guy who wasn't using humor, a man who was using his profession and was totally willing to lose every single piece of it to say what he was saying. Caviezel,
the man Mel Gibson personally picked to portray Jesus Christ in The Passion of the Christ, a film that made $612 million worldwide. After that, Jim had everything: the respect, the future. And then he went on to a project that wrecked his Hollywood career overnight, a film called Sound of Freedom, about a genuine former federal agent who walked away from his employment to rescue children from trafficking networks in Latin America. You would think every studio in Hollywood would be lined up to fund a film about preserving children. You would think this would be the simplest sale in industry history. That is not what occurred. From Rupert Murdoch at Fox to every major studio, if you touch this thing, you will be out. You'll be done. You'll be finished in 3 years.
I became aware of the dangers that go on with children around the world and through that process.
Stop and think about what he just stated. The argument is that the most powerful media operator in the English-speaking world supposedly sent out an order that anybody who backed a film about rescuing trafficking children will be destroyed within 3 years. Hollywood's answer wasn't to deny it. Their answer was to laugh at it, put him on a list, make sure his phone stopped ringing. The picture came released without a single big studio behind it and generated $250 million at the box office. The crowd showed up, the industry didn't, and Caviezel continued talking.
It was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but I had a lot of experience from the Passion of the Christ, and we were humiliated. We were taken through the ringer in the media. This was before Trump came out and said it was, the lying media and the fake news, and they were fake news back when we were doing that, but we had to fight for everything we had. And so we got that film done, so I had a little bit of experience of what this can be like.
What if I told you that right now, today, dozens of Hollywood elites possess private islands with zero law enforcement, zero press access, and zero oversight? The exact same framework that enabled Epstein to cover his actions for almost a decade. Now, I know you'd want to know which ones. What this video is about is a pretty basic question. Why is the supervision so low? Why, despite all we learned about Epstein, is there still zero transparency required for celebrity-owned private land? Because the issue isn't always the person. Sometimes the issue is the system that permits some things go absolutely unreported. Let's speak about it. The islands. Island 1, Naomi Campbell's eye-shaped island, Turkey. We're going to start with perhaps the most talked about one right now, and for very good cause.
Naomi Campbell has an own island off the coast of Turkey. And if you look at it from above, and I mean this literally, it is shaped like an eye. Specifically, it resembles the Egyptian Eye of Horus. Now, I'm not here to tell you what it implies, but I'm also not going to pretend I didn't notice. But disregard the form for a second. Let's discuss about the Epstein files, because Naomi Campbell's name popped up in the records about 100 times. Not once, not twice, close to 300 times. The records indicate email conversations where Campbell was the one seeking to go on Epstein's private plane, the same plane that became known as the Lolita Express. She arranged to see him at his New York estate. She invited him to events throughout the globe. FBI interviews with unknown victims revealed that Epstein directly introduced them to Campbell at social occasions. And here's the bit that becomes extremely hard to brush off. Those same victims allege they saw Naomi Campbell in Epstein's house and on his island. Not before his conviction, after it. She was still showing up after the world already knew what he was.
Oh, one of my best friends, she's not here today. She was human trafficked by Naomi Campbell. And Naomi is also Diddy's the godmother. So she started meeting with all these famous people, and they connected her with certain people. And then all of a sudden she's at these parties, and I see she's doing drugs and getting out of control. And eventually I had to start rescuing her from parties. And then a few of the times I had to rescue her from Naomi Campbell's apartment, sleep over, and then I would pick her up.
This is a direct character assassination. I've always said that I'm not a saint, that I am a work in progress, but I will not be held hostage by my past. What he's done is indefensible.
A 2010 email from Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's right-hand woman who's now in jail, promised Campbell what the email dubbed 2 playmates. Campbell's lawyers claims that meant 2 male friends. You can determine what you think about it. According to the data, Naomi Campbell had recorded communication with Jeffrey Epstein from 2001 all the way to 2016. That is 15 years. 15 years of emails, visits, and trips
including years after his 2008 imprisonment. Her lawyer has indicated publicly that she had no knowledge of his conduct until his 2019 arrest. But 15 years of verified communication after an initial encounter is a long time to not know what someone is about. I'm simply saying if my buddy were caught and convicted, I probably wouldn't keep visiting his island for the following 8 years. Just me. However, now she has her own island. Same configuration, private, no control, no public access. And the question the internet is asking fairly is precisely the same question the DOJ should be asking.
After watching the Diddy documentary, I found myself going back down the Epstein rabbit hole, which then led me to the dark side of Naomi Campbell. If you're unaware, Naomi Campbell is one of the original supermodels, one of the first Black women to appear on major publications, featured on over 500 magazine covers, and worked for some of, if not all, of the biggest fashion houses. It's safe to say she has insane connections. One of those being Jeffrey Epstein, publicly admitted that she knew Jeffrey Epstein and was introduced to him when she was 31. She was introduced to Epstein by her ex-boyfriend Flavio Briatore, I don't know. The reason this is important is because this Flavio fella is connected to a lot of sketchy people, or people that we know today to be sketchy. We see this a lot where supermodels are dating people like this. Flavio also has a child with Heidi Klum. Anyway, Flavio and Naomi are pictured on Epstein's yacht, surrounded by a lot of people, including, at the time, teenage Virginia Giuffre. So there's no denying that Naomi was connected to Epstein and his cohorts. Allegedly, there are emails where Naomi is talking about Ghislaine Maxwell being a close friend of hers, arranging trips to foreign countries. Naomi's spokesperson came out and said Naomi does not recognize this email exchange. There are claims from survivors that she was more involved in Epstein's inner circle than she leads on, allegedly. A lot of these documents remain sealed or unverified. It means that we can't really say she's guilty of any wrongdoing, but she definitely has connections to some of these sketchy people. Another really sketchy name she was allegedly romantically linked to was the disgraced Sean Diddy Combs. This was in the early 2000s and they were seen going to many events together, but they were never confirmed as a couple. A lot of people think that models happen to end up in these circles because they're in the pageant world or the supermodel world, which breeds creepy, weird old men who want to be in charge of that.
Island 2, Oprah Winfrey.
Island 2, Oprah Winfrey's African Properties and Leadership Academy, South Africa. Oprah Winfrey doesn't possess a typical private island in the Caribbean sense, but her estates in Africa run with virtually the same amount of seclusion and zero outside monitoring. And there is a recorded record of what may happen when that type of arrangement goes unchecked. In 2007, Oprah founded the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa. It was a $40 million school for impoverished teenage girls. She spoke about it everywhere. It was one of her major public endeavors. And look, on paper, it seems like a truly excellent thing. I'm not disputing that. But then 2011 occurred. A dorm matron at the institution, Virginia Tiny Makopo, was accused of physically and sexually assaulting children. The pupils themselves made the allegations. Children who were there under Oprah's care at a school Oprah herself managed. The matron was finally acquitted. But the inquiry that followed wasn't about her guilt or innocence. It was about how this could happen at all. How could abuse claims at a private school on a private campus in a secluded place go undiscovered for as long as they did? Critics at the time pointed out the obvious. It's the same structural issue as Epstein's Island. Private property, remote location, limited outside monitoring, no press access, no transparent reporting. And that wasn't the end of it. In 2024, more than a decade later, additional complaints came again regarding improper behavior at the same institution. Oprah's foundation disputed everything, but the pattern of questioning surrounding that school has never totally gone away.
What Oprah Winfrey has done for those children in that school, it's really encouraging, it's outstanding. It's really appreciated by the entire South Africans. But unfortunately, the justice system in every country, it's not about what you know, it's about what you can prove in a court of law.
Beyond the school, Oprah also owns private retreat properties around Africa where celebrities and prominent individuals are known to meet. No press access, no public openness about who visits or what occurs there. Again, we are not suggesting anything nefarious is occurring there. What we're arguing is that following the Epstein case, any private institution, particularly one involving young individuals with limited outside oversight, requires a serious investigation. And just now, nobody is looking.
Island 3, Richard Branson's Necker Island, British Virgin Islands. Okay, let's speak about Richard Branson and Necker Island. Branson acquired Necker Island back in 1979 at $120,000.
Today, the island is believed to be worth $200 million. He converted it into one of the most exclusive private resorts on the globe, from 120 grand to 200 million. I mean, say what you want about the guy, that's a flip. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The guest list at Necker Island reads like a who's who of the most powerful individuals on Earth. Barack Obama has been there, Princess Diana visited, Kate Middleton, Prince Harry, Nelson Mandela, Tony Blair, all of them have spent time on this island. And that's not even the whole list. Mariah Carey, Kate Moss, Harry Styles, elite celebrities arriving and departing, all entirely removed from public view. No reporters, no cameras, no record of who's there or what's occurring.
In 2007, Branson went ahead and acquired a second island directly close to Necker, Mosquito Island, 125 acres, spent $12.7 million for it. So now he owns 2 adjoining private islands. Both islands may be hired out exclusively for special events, corporate retreats, celebrity weddings, political summits, all behind closed doors. And in 2011, a fire damaged Branson's house on Necker. When he rebuilt it, he added even more privacy features and security. So think about this for a second. You have some of the world's most prominent leaders, royals, and billionaires frequently assembling on a private island. No press present, no public record of what's said, no supervision of any sort. Before Epstein, you could have simply called that a luxury retreat. After Epstein, that issue requires a meaningful response. Island 4, David Copperfield's Musha Cay, Bahamas. This following one could be the oddest inclusion on this list. And that is saying something, because this list includes an eye-shaped island on it. Magician David Copperfield doesn't own one private island. He owns 4. Together, they cover 700 acres in the Bahamas. The primary one is named Musha Cay, and he acquired it in 2006 for $50 million, one of the most expensive private island acquisitions ever documented at that time. 4 islands, 700 acres, $50 million. And he's a magician. I have so many questions. Musha Cay rents for $57,000 per night. There's a 4-night minimum, so if you want to stay there, you're looking at a minimum expenditure of $228,000 just for the rental. That statistic alone tells you just what type of customer this restaurant draws. The island has 5 luxurious homes, a private movie theater on the beach, and something dubbed a secret village, which is only accessible via a hidden statue. Yes, a hidden statue. That's how you get in. And then there's this. Copperfield has publicly stated that he located a fountain of youth somewhere on the island. He expressed this in interviews. I'm gonna let you sit with that one. 700 acres, 4 islands, a secret settlement behind a hidden monument, a fountain of youth, $57,000 a night, and 0 law enforcement presence over the whole property. Before Epstein, you'd call that odd. After Epstein, the term wealthy man's private island playground strikes quite different.
Island 5. Leonardo DiCaprio's Blackador Key, Belize. In 2005, Leonardo DiCaprio purchased $1.75 million for a private island off the coast of Belize named Blackador Key. It's around 104 acres currently. When he acquired it, he made a huge public statement. He stated it was intended to become an eco-friendly luxury resort, a paradigm for sustainable development. He spoke about it at environmental gatherings. It became part of his complete public image as a climate campaign. Great tale. One issue, it is currently 2026. That means 21 years since he acquired the island, and building has still not begun. Not a single structure, not one brick laid. Just Leo quietly owning a private island off the coast of Belize for 2 decades, with nothing to show for it publicly. Now, to be fair, he ran against some actual challenges. Environmental groups actually fought back and warned the eco-resort itself may harm the coral habitat nearby, which is fairly hilarious considering that DiCaprio acquired the island precisely to safeguard the environment. The permission process was blocked repeatedly, but 21 years is a long time to have delays. And many are asking a very logical question. Was the resort ever the true goal, or was it simply a fantastic fiction to justify having a private island without anyone looking too closely?
DiCaprio also dated Naomi Campbell back in 1995, so the link between these two private island owners goes back a long way. Whether that's significant or not is up to you. I'm simply connecting dots. You form your own conclusions.
So this is the girl that was allegedly sending those messages to Epstein and dating Leo, Alicia Rimbenkova. And disturbingly, while she was dating Leo, she seems to have been trying to out girls and friends of hers to the Epstein machine. So here's another message from Alicia to Jeffrey Epstein sent in 2010. As you can see, she said, "But in the meantime, do you want to see my friend Swedish girl, remember?" Epstein says, "Who?" And she says, "Remember, I brought the girl to your house in Palm Beach like 4 years ago." That would have been in around 2006. There's also this message that she wrote, as you can see back in 2010, Alicia sent to Epstein. "I'll find girl for you this time, I promise. I'm so bitter now, I'll do anything. Europe would be better to find little girl." I don't see how you're possibly going to defend that one if you're Alicia.
Island 6.
The final island on today's list belongs to country power couple Faith Hill and Tim McGraw. And honestly, this one is probably the most wholesome entry here. Their island is named Les Donis, which is French for Island of Angels. It sits in the Bahamas, and by all public reports, it works as a private family hideaway. No significant disputes, no names in any files, nothing scary. And I want to be frank with you, I don't believe anything untoward is going on there. This pair has one of the most strong reputations in music.